So the last thing I remember, I was seated at a table here and I was eating a paneer burger with some peri peri fries from garam masala, and my wife and I were actually sharing the review of that food with you in episode 42 of Happily Entangled AF. Fast forward to the present day, now there is a playmat, no table, and people, there's a child. And Asma says, he's mine. Apparently I even gave him a name. Listen, that's a different reality. I know it's been a year, but I think I need a minute.
On behalf of Naren Rampadarath and the Rampadarath family of Raees, Tabaquite, we welcome you back to our Happily Entangled AF marriage vlog series. It's been a long while, but we've been having a baby, and his name is Raees, and he's now 7.5 months old. We'd like to say thank you very much for the wishes, for the messages, the congratulations. It was well received and we deeply appreciate it. So it's back to business, and serious business too. Today we'd like to share a few of the etiquettes and some unknown or unmentioned things that we should practice when visiting newborn baby and his or her parent.
So courtesy Naren Rampadarath and family, today Asma and I are going to share 12 tips, 12 etiquettes, 12 unwritten rules really, that every single person ought to know before you attempt to visit a newborn or that newborn's parents or anyone who's taking care of that newborn for that matter. So 12 to go, and let's get right into it. Alright, by the way, hi mommy. So you're not even gonna hide that in me back.
Well, so he's generally addressed as Papa. Hi, Papa.
Papa, I'll take it. So tip number 1 is ask first before you visit. Don't just show up either at home, and worse yet, if they're still at the hospital.
Yeah, because when you're at the hospital, your state of mind is one thing, and then your state of dress is a whole different story, and then when you come home to visit now, similarly, right after you give birth, your mind isn't always totally clear. Your hormones are still trying to settle themselves down, and just be cautious about it. And remember, sometimes your dress code, because you might be breastfeeding, the new mother would be breastfeeding, and they wouldn't be totally dressed. It might take them a while to get dressed, and that's like a process by itself.
Yeah, and the Muslim experience in that is a bit different, because you might think the dress code is not a big deal for a nursing mother, but remember there are different guidelines for Muslim women. So it's like she would have to get dressed up almost fully to be able to entertain anybody that would have had to come across to visit who's not her mehram or someone that she could be in a state of undress in front of. So that made it extra challenging. So the general rule of thumb is, as it pertains to visits at the hospital, that's a no-no unless you're like in the immediate family and the mother asks for you to be there, and at home you really need to ask first, liaise with them on their timing, what things are looking like, and for all of the reasons mentioned and so many others that we don't have time to mention. Energy is another one of them, by the way, because sometimes you just don't have the energy, and sometimes you're just sleep deprived.
You just lack sleep.
And especially depending on how that labor or C-section
you would have
process
had a
would have
regular
gone.
birth, because I feel like with a regular birth, you still sore down there. You don't want to walk around, and sitting becomes a problem. Like, if you've had a baby recently, you would be able to recall. Sometimes just you don't know where to sit, you don't know which couch to sit on, how to, so those little things could be an issue.
Alright, so our second point that we wanted to share with you is, when you do visit, keep it short.
Yeah, that's important, because, babies speak at close intervals initially when they're newborn, and plus the parents are still a little tired, so you don't want to stay too long, you don't want to overstay a time.
So it's kind of like for all the reasons that we shared with you in the first point, but we also add to that the fact that you are not the only person
that's coming to visit.
That's coming
That's
to
right.
visit, you know. So if the parents can spare, let's say, an hour for visits, that doesn't mean that you get an hour for visits, because there are so many other family members, friends, close loved ones, etc., who would want to pop by, you know. So let them guide you on how long the visit should be, but don't be presumptuous and assume, regardless of the relationship that you have, that it's okay to spend a prolonged period of time. And you know, according to like even the guidelines of our faith as well, the etiquettes are that, you know, if you are a guest in our house, regardless of the situation, it is still our duty, it's still incumbent on us to entertain you.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not the ideal situation in which, you know, you want to entertain people. And entertain doesn't just mean provide food and drink and that sort of stuff, but you know,
Conversation.
to sit and converse and,
Yeah,
you know,
just
interact,
conversation.
you know. So that's the second tip. When you do visit, keep it short. Our third is, especially in the early postnatal stage, if you are visiting the home, there are a couple things that we want to recommend. One, that you bring a cooked meal.
It's always appreciated, because even in the household, even if there are other persons living there besides, you know, the husband and wife, they're still taking up helping you with baby and that kind of thing. So it's always appreciated. Food,
Yeah. Sometimes just getting chance to make yourself something to eat when you're adjusting to
Yeah.
a newborn and new schedules, and you, especially if you feel a little out of your sort, out of your element, because this could all be very quite overwhelming for people who have no experience, you know. So I mean,
and I think even with a second or third birth, because then that's more pressure, because now you've got to take care of your baby plus
Yeah.
the children, the older children
Yeah.
as well. So
the other suggestion that we have on the same point is maybe you could volunteer to take care of a chore or a task if you are going to visit the parents
if
of
they
the
opt
newborn.
it and they'd say yes, and I think most people would probably say yes.
Yeah,
Come
like,
on over, wash my dishes.
and it could be anything, you know. It could be
Yeah.
the dishes, it could be, you know, wash their car for them or take it to the car wash for them, because
Yeah.
you would be amazed at how many very little things, seemingly simple things, just can't get done when there is a baby, a child, or children in the picture, you know, especially during these early phases, you know.
Yeah.
Or maybe you could volunteer to babysit.
Yeah, maybe. So just so you can go and get a bath and wash your hair.
Yeah, you know. So I think that's one of the reasons why in local culture, a lot of times over the girl goes back to her mother's house. We did not do that, but Asma's mother came over and spent some time with us, and my mother was here as well. And all hands were needed on deck, because, you know, mommy has to take care of herself. There's some things that she just has to do on her own, and you still have to work. Daddy still has to go out to work and that sort of stuff. And you know, you need some hands on deck. So if you could volunteer to assist in any way whatsoever, you know, just do
It's
that.
always appreciated.
Yeah, for sure. We actually had a niece of mine hold our baby
For 1 hour.
for an hour, just so that
I could get a nap.
she just held him, like she lay down on the bed with him, right?
She sat up on the bed,
Yeah.
propped up on pillows, and she held him because he didn't want to sleep in the crib. He didn't want to sleep on the bed. He just wanted to be held.
Yeah.
And he slept, and she held him for an entire hour.
So thank you, Solange.
She sat there with the mosquito zapper to make sure he didn't get bitten.
Yeah. So our fourth point of 12 that we want to share with you is, please be mindful. Number 4, please be mindful of when you visit. 3 things in particular. One is your clothes and the cleanliness of your clothes. Don't go with your work clothes to visit a newborn. Their immune systems are not fully developed as yet. You want to minimize any exposure to unnecessary germs and that sort of stuff. Don't go with dirty clothes if you know you're going to visit the child, you know?
Yeah, and if there's a possibility that you're going to hold the baby, then you want to make sure your clothes are not going to be like fluffy and fuzzy and, you know, things that will irritate
Yeah.
their skin as well.
And not just cleanliness, but also scent. Try to not wear high scented perfumes or colognes if you're going to visit a newborn baby. That could be problematic in a variety of ways. And I'll also tell you, the third point is, please, if you're sick, stay away.
Yeah.
You know, so that kind of wraps up our fourth point. The fifth point is, if you're sick, stay away. And not just if you're sick, but if you think you're sick, if you're recovering from sick, if you're not sure if you're sick but you're feeling kind of how, you have a itch in your throat, whatever, just stay away. Like there is no reason whatsoever for you to put the baby or even the parents of the newborn at risk, because their immune systems would have probably taken a hit as well with late nights and just
if you would have had surgery and that kind of thing, so your body's already a little messed up.
Yeah. So stay away if you're sick. This is not just about COVID. Everything this is. We assume it's about COVID-19. It's not about COVID. This is about just generally anything whatsoever, flu, virus, whatever. So that's 5. Our 6th point that we wanted to share with you is don't expect to hold the baby.
Yeah. So some parents would be very particular about it, especially that first week up until maybe 3 months or so. We were a little bit different because who visited us were very close to us, and we were just very social, and we wanted a social baby as well. So I think we allowed it, and we knew who we allowed, and everybody was very cautious, I have to say, with how, and nobody presumed that, okay, you're going to let me hold your child. In fact, most people were very shocked. Oh my God, you're letting me hold your baby.
And that's the important point here. It's not that you can't hold the baby or that the parents won't let you. Each parent or parents would be different. But the real takeaway here is don't go in to visit assuming that holding the baby is a right or a part of the experience, that sort of stuff. Some parents may just not be ready as yet. Maybe your energy is not the right vibrational level with the parents or something. I mean, I don't know. People have different reasons for things. So just don't assume that you're going to hold the baby. But even if you're not going to hold the baby, wash your hands. And if you're getting to hold the baby, wash your hands a second time around, right? Just make sure
you're clear and covered. Because remember, you come in like up close in this space.
Yeah. So we're halfway there, and we're going to run through the rest of this list, but I just want to take a moment to quickly thank our friends at, the Rampadarath family, really. They have graciously volunteered to enable us to return, or to rather resume these vlogs, and I just wanted to thank them for helping us get over this hurdle, because this was actually supposed to have happened last Wednesday, and the life of a parent is just real different, and we're learning real quick, So thanks to the Rampadarath family. They've been serving the Tabaquite area for quite some time, cleaning up the area and ensuring that they take care of all the waste disposal, etc., for the entirety of that area. It's always spick and span, but they go beyond that, beyond what they're asked to do, and they take care of the community in so many other ways. They're all about family and family life, and so they wanted to support this vlog because they love what we do and the family values and conversations that we promote and have. So thank you very much to Naren Rampadarath and the entire home circle there in Tabaquite in down New Grant Way. Yeah. So at number 7, please be mindful of cultural sensitivities. Wife, what do we mean by that?
So a lot of people don't want you to visit at the, what do you call it, the evil times, or the
jumbie hour. That's it. Yeah, the jumbie hour.
Yeah. And then after at 6 o'clock, if you were to get to that household, you have to sit out in the porch and wait for the dew to fall off of you.
Yeah. You have to thaw out. If the dew hits you, have to thaw out before you come into the house, much less
you don't want to bring
see the baby.
Draft in for the baby.
Yeah. Now those things may sound like legitimate things to you. Great. And for some other people, those things may sound like utter nonsense. That's great too. All I'm saying is, respect is not about your values. Respect is about the values of the people that you're going to visit. So regardless of what you believe and what you think, it's not about you. It's about the parents and that baby. So if you know the parents have a problem with dew, or come from a family where they might have a problem with the dew, or you visiting after 6 in the evening, oh gosh, try to adjust accordingly. Whether you believe it to be nonsense or not is entirely up to you. We're not here to debate that or argue that whatsoever. We just trying to say, just be aware of sensitivities, you know. There are things that some people could get very upset about, and there are other things that that might come as a bit of a shocker. Like, for instance, this may seem odd since we are of East Indian descent, but Asma and I legit did not know about this whole thing with coins.
Yes.
Like, legit did not know that. So our friends, one of our friends, his wife, actually, as soon as baby was born, they gave us cash
and they gave us a coin,
right?
Like, she specifically told us, bring a coin.
Right. And a lot of our Hindu friends and family have also done the same thing as well. So they give cash, but they would also ensure that they give us a coin, because this is what they do for their own selves and in their own culture.
Yeah.
Now, we have no problem whatsoever taking that coin, accepting that gift, because we understand the place of extreme goodwill and good intention that is coming from. But all I am saying to you is that you have to know your audience. You know, you have to know the people that you're interacting with and treat with them accordingly. A better example might be, for instance, the
Malju beads.
Yeah, the beads that they call Malju beads. So you might give those beads to some new parents, and you might assume, you know, you mean well, and you know it's a good gesture, whatever, based on yourself and your upbringing and your beliefs. But for them, that might be hocus pocus, and so you know it's a gift that might be lost on them. So yes, want what you want for yourself, for others, but be mindful of whether others would appreciate that or could appreciate that,
or they might feel
or not.
Slighted,
or if they might take offense, you know. So just bear that in mind, the cultural sensitivities. The other thing, which is number 8 actually, is pictures.
Yeah, in our digital social media world today, you know, just be very cautious. Ask first if the parents would allow you to take a picture, and then if you want to post it, then ask again. Is it okay for me to post it?
Yes.
So like, we didn't post pictures initially. It took us maybe until baby was about 3 months, then we posted his first picture, and that was something that we kind of decided on because we thought when it felt right and when the time was right, then we would share him with the world, basically. So just be very careful and ask. Just ask. You know,
and
don't assume that everybody's okay with it, because now is the social media age. And, you know.
And we didn't share photos online of our baby, not for any reason in particular. Like, a lot of people do it or wouldn't do it because of the bad eye or the malju, etc. Right? We didn't do it, or rather not do it because of that. It was just a matter of us getting comfortable with it. Like, there was a lot that had to happen psychologically and otherwise, and you know, that sort of stuff.
First time.
Yeah, you know.
Time was a big thing as well.
And so everybody has their own reason, but when we did share photos, we also were not the parents who were sharing photos and blurring out faces and that sort of stuff, you know. So we shared photos firstly on our private Instagram account that's open to friends and family and very close ones, and only recently we shared photos and video publicly, you know, on the other channels, on Eid al-Adha Day on Fuzzy, and a little while before that when we made the announcement on Fuzzy as well,
Facebook,
you know. So on Eid al-Adha Day was the first time on Fuzzy that I shared a photo of him and that sort of stuff, you know, with the Instagram video. So you know, everything in its own timing. The parents are doing things in their own timing, and we would suggest that, as Asma said, that you do the same as well. Moving along, number 9, look out for nursing cues and also any other cues from the parents.
Yeah, so like, if you see that the baby, you're allowed to hold the baby and baby starts to fuss up and whatever else, look at the parents, see if they're ready to take their child back from you, or if they're going to tell you, well, you know, just lift his head a little bit, pat him on the back, maybe he just needs to burp, you know, those little things, or maybe it's time to feed. Not everybody who is breastfeeding is comfortable breastfeeding their baby in front of somebody else. So, you know, pick up on those little signs if they seem like, okay, give me my baby, I'm gonna go inside and feed, you know, Those are little things to just look for.
Yeah, and I know that some mothers may think in moments like that, well, you know, I had 3 children, or I have 3 children, or I raised 6 or 7 or 8 or however many, and so I know what to do in this circumstance. Nobody is questioning whether you know what to do or not. What we are saying is there is a certain measure of anxiety that each person will have, each mother or parent will have in a situation like that. They're now getting accustomed to hearing their baby cry, hearing their baby, seeing their baby fidget or act a particular way or whatever. So take your cues from the parent. It's not only about the baby, but in those moments, it's about the parent, the mother in particular, and how she would react. So if she's walking you through the process and telling you it's okay, then it's okay. But if she looks agitated, return baby to her. All right? It's just the sensible, courteous, very kind thing to do. This is, again, not about you, how many children you raise, and how much experience you have, and all that kind of thing. But, you know, take your cues from mommy. At number, where we at? Number 10 now? Yeah. So at number 10, this one is extremely important, and we're competing with the village mic man or woman. But at number 10, what I will tell you is absolutely, 100% verifiable, no kissing. No kissing of the baby. Just the sheer number of germs, and apart from like illness, you know, that could spread, germs that could spread, there are also allergies, there are also skin breakouts that could happen and that sort of stuff. There will come a point in time when it's okay to kiss the baby or to kiss the young toddler or whatever. Again, take your cues from the parents and the relationship that you have with the parents and with the child, but especially in the initial phases, just stay away from the kissing.
So like completely. I told him not until he's 3 months I don't want anybody kissing his face. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't want to make kissing baby's face. Your maternal instinct kicks in then, maybe. But I will give her credit and say to her that you know, she never stopped me from kissing baby. I mean, like, well, yeah. If something happens, his father, he'll deal with it. As a matter of fact, I was kissing baby long before she was. You know, like I would come home, and I still do come home, and I would plant kisses on my son by the hundreds, like literally by the hundreds on one cheek and then the other cheek. And it has gotten to the point now where when I come home, he expects the kisses, so I'll kiss him, and when I'm done kissing on one side, he turns the cheek for me to kiss the other side. It's one of the greatest feelings in the world, to be honest, but I digress. Number 11, and this is a big one. If you made it this far, we almost through. Number 11, please spread this one. As David Rudder says, go tell it on the mountains, over the hills, and everywhere. No unsolicited advice, please. Wife, you better take it from here, because I will get hyper. So a lot of people have been telling us, don't hold the baby all the time, because what's going to happen when you go back out to work, and it's going to be a problem, and the baby wouldn't want to stay down. But they're only going to be a baby for a short period of time, and you know, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Maybe the baby won't be there anymore, or we won't be here anymore. So you don't want to have regrets later on, you know. But that's something that we've heard from, like, a lot of people have told us that. Yes. But you know us, we do our own thing. But I also will say that Asma and I don't just, we're not just parents because we were able to have a child. So we, upon learning that we were going to become parents, I started attending parenting seminars, workshops, that sort of stuff, and really wanted to add to my knowledge of what is required as a parent from a Muslim perspective, from a psychological perspective, and otherwise. And I actively sought to choose a parenting style. So we have certain philosophies as to what we think our role as parent really is, and we have general ideas, and thankfully we're both on the same page about how we want to raise baby. I will say, you know, the young lady who starred as Amy Farrah Fowler in The Big Bang Theory, Mayim Bialik, she actually wrote a book on what is known as a style of parenting called attachment parenting, and it was one of the more profound books that we read. She's a neuroscientist as well, and it really helped us to be comfortable with the choices that we have made as to how we want to parent, and that includes holding baby and sleeping with baby on the same bed and all that, and not letting baby cry it out, as some parents say. Like, those are not things that we do, and these are all conscious
well thought out, not emotive or impulsive, but well thought out, well researched decisions that we have come to and discussed and agree on. And so if you're visiting a parent like us, and you see us holding the child all the time, and like one of my aunts, a very, very, very distant relative who was visiting from abroad for a short period of time, came, and first day she's seen me and the baby. I'm sharing this story because this is how it is, right? And usually these are the kind of people that will tell you these things. And she was upset. She was like, no, they have to let him cry it out. And like she was like literally all up on that hype, And out of respect for preserving the relationship and that sort of stuff, I said nothing. I think I did well with my patience. I said nothing, and I just thought to myself, you know what? I just gonna leave this, let this slide, and just we doing our thing. Let her have a say, kind of thing. Because some people are just not worth having that conversation with. And it's usually the people who believe that their way was the right way or is the right way, and these are the people who will very quickly tell you, no, well, I had X amount of children, and listen, you were the right parent and had the right parenting style for your children. Your parenting style cannot be the parenting style that is right for somebody else's child, and you have to remember that absolutely 100%. Now, there may be things that other parents are doing that is the same thing that you would have done, and they differ in some other ways. Nobody will have the exact mix of every other parent. Every child gets the parent they deserve, and vice versa. So just please ease up young parents on the parenting advice. When they want advice, trust you me, if they treasure and value your opinion enough, they will come to you. When they come to you to ask you, that's how you know they really revere you in a particular way, or they have respect for you, or they like the way that you do things, etc. Let them come to you. Don't volunteer the advice, please, right? And I think I handled that well too, right?
Yes,
I was tactful enough. Because that's one of the things that's real irked me, right? And we have some stories we could share with you, but we ending off now with number 12, which is to just be patient with us. Just be patient with young and new parents, because
yes, you must say new there. Not so young.
We're just getting the hang of this thing, I was previously just a funkle, the fun uncle. I've played that role all my life, and
I was just very irresponsible and being taken care by him. And now I have to take care of a little myself.
Not me, Shimina, not the little. But it takes a little while to get accustomed to, and to acclimatize and to really transition psychologically and otherwise. And you notice I keep using the word psychologically, because really and truly that's where the greatest change has to happen. Anybody can physically sort of take care of a child if you know what you're doing and how to do and whatever, but like psychologically you have to really prepare, you have to really be, because if you don't,
so then put yourself into that space and be present in the moment.
Yes.
Be present in the moment.
Yes, because if you don't, that's where things like postpartum depression and all these other things could come into play. So you really do have to be patient with them, and let them figure things out on their own timing. And don't be like the old people who will constantly remind you, and this is not taking anything away from them and their experiences, but don't be like the old people who will tell you, girl, look at how long you taken to get over this thing in our day or in our time. We pop out a child and the next day we in the cane field. Okay, I understand. I'm not saying that was easy, but that was a different time. You were a different person. There were different expectations. People were built differently. Everything has changed. Everything, not just the environment, but our psychology, our sociology, everything has changed. So you can't compare one time like that to a next and not take context into consideration. So just be patient with us and don't compare your experience to their experience. Give them the time that they need to figure it out, to do their thing. So I think that's pretty much it. If there is anything that we have missed, please do share it with us. Let us have an engaging conversation on the subject matter in the comments below, whether you're looking at this on Facebook or on YouTube, and let us continue to have this conversation, because it is an essential ongoing conversation that need be had, and that we need to continue having, So if there are things that we missed, please share it with us below. If there are things that we said that may or may not have resonated with you, rub you the right way, rub you the wrong way, a point that we would have missed, share it with us, please. This is an ongoing conversation, and our experience would obviously also be different to yours, but these are generally some of the agreed upon guidelines as to what are the protocols, the unwritten rules, and the expectations, as well as etiquettes when it comes to visiting
new parents, new baby.
Yeah. So thank you very much for viewing episode 43, but our premiere return episode of Happily Entangled. I'm smiling quite a lot here, wife. It feels good to connect with our people.
It feels good. It was. I have to say, I had a little bit of anxiety just before getting behind this camera today, but it feels good. It feels good to reconnect with you. Thank you for being patient with us, and thank you for your continued support.
Yeah. And, again, thank you for all your well wishes and everything else, and all your kind words and comments and congratulations. And thanks again to the Rampadarath family for enabling us and insisting that we resume Happily Entangled AF with episode 43 of it. That's our presentation for today, and for this week, God willing, we'll catch you again
next Wednesday
for episode 44. Yeah. So thank you. Until then, bye for now.
Bye.